Are you looking for something to scratch that mobile itch? Then go check out our MMO by Mobile channel and see if anything there interests you. Otherwise, we get a pretty good week of news for all of you after E3. News on MMOs shutting down, PSO2 coming to the West, and more. So sit back, kick your feet up, and let's take a look at this week's Weekly Byte of MMORPG news. Alright, let's kick this off with what is potentially the biggest news Black Desert has ever had. They're releasing a ton of new content over the course of the year and a new class. But they've released plenty of content and lots of classes, you might say. Very true, but this class, the Shai, actually marks their very first class of its kind. A support class. Every class thus far has been a DPS that is capable of self-sustaining, but the Shai is a support healer. BDO doesn't have support or healer classes. They've had no reason to up till this point. So then, what marks their interest in introducing a healer into the game now? Could they be planning potential content that would require a healer somewhere down the line? Regardless, Pearl Abyss went on to state that they plan on introducing additional class archetypes into the game each year, so who knows, we could see a dedicated healer or even a tank sometime soon. If that content drop wasn't enough for you, then don't worry, Pearl Abyss also confirmed that the popular MMO, which is already out on both PC and Xbox One, will be launching on a PS4 as well. Pre-orders for the game will begin on July 2nd and include early access to the full game when it launches, which admittedly has a currently undisclosed date. Black Desert Mobile, the mobile port of the game, and perhaps one of the most anticipated mobile MMOs ever, is expected to launch globally before this year ends. So, if you ever wanted to play BDO on your PS4, or heck, even your mobile device, then you'll have both soon. Square Enix released their final trailer for Shadowbringers ahead of their launch at the end of this month, and it was impressive. I sat there, I watched through the whole thing several times, and I got chills watching it. While not much in the way of actual information was revealed, we got to see a lot of the world, the Scions, some of the baddies we'll be fighting, and Minfilia. Both of them. I don't want to spoil anything about Shadowbringers' story, so I won't discuss it any further than that. But if you want my opinions on the trailer, I will have a video up for it soon. Also, a quick note, both my wife Mrs. Sticks and I will be streaming Shadowbringers during the head start, so make sure to tune in to our channel at the end of this month. Path of Exile surprisingly launched in South Korea earlier this week, accompanying the game's latest Legion expansion. Grinding Gear Games, the team behind Path of Exile, revealed that concurrency records for players online at a single time were absolutely destroyed, hitting over 224,000 players. This excluded both console and Chinese realms. The last time they broke records was when they released their last large update, Betrayal, back in December last year. A lot of content, updates, and tweaks came with the expansion. If you want a more thorough breakdown of exactly what that is, feel free to check out the official Path of Exile website. If you've been keeping an eye on the upcoming indie sandbox MMO Dual Universe, you'd know that the team behind the game was attempting to secure additional funding for production. As of earlier this week, they have secured a whopping $11.2 million to officially finish off their game. Dual Universe is currently in its very first alpha, with Alpha 2 expected to run later this year, so if you've been waiting on a confirmation on when you'll finally be able to play it, it could be sooner than expected. If you weren't aware yet, then you will be now. I've repeatedly been made aware of this and have countless times thus far neglected to include it, just simply because, honestly, I kept forgetting about it. Which, you know, I guess is what everyone else did. That's why World Adrift never really took off. The team behind Worlds Adrift have neglected to provide an exact date as to when the game will shut down completely, but their next big update is planned for release soon. It includes new legendary engines, ship blueprints and adjustments, and a full wipe. A complete full character wipe of all progress thus far. Yep, way to add insult to injury, guys. You're really showing your community that you know how to reward them for their time and effort supporting you. In light of their recent success hitting over 10 million players, Phoenix Labs have launched the game onto the Switch with its very first demo being shown at E3. Whether crossplay compatibility with other consoles and the PC version currently remains a mystery, Phoenix Labs have reported that they have their next large update ready for July. If you have yet to play Dauntless and are looking for an alternative to Monster Hunter, then this could very well be exactly what you need. 10 million players and counting, guys. In other news, Phoenix Labs have plans to bring Dauntless to mobile devices after their launch on every console imaginable. Crossplay, again, hasn't been confirmed between mobile and any other platform either. I did a video on Warlords Awakening when it launched initially. I figured after launching multiple times in the past, the devs behind it were trying to cash in on a thirsty community, and they did. After releasing my video, I received some hate with people claiming that it was a great game. I was merely hating for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and I didn't play through the game long enough to really be able to fully judge it. But I called its inevitable closure, and here it is, closing down completely this month. That is what you get when you launch as a free-to-play game in the past, fail, then relaunch and rebrand with a different name as a buy-to-play game. You fail again, but to an even larger degree, because this time there were at times maybe 100 people playing it concurrently. Yeah, the game launched dead. So yeah, that sucks for those of you that did in fact enjoy it, but that's why you don't trust companies trying for a cheap cash grab. If you're a fan of Pokemon, then you will love this. Temtem, the not Pokemon-inspired open-world upcoming monster teaming MMORPG, released Alpha 0.2, which introduced an entirely new island, a whole set of new Temtem to do battle with and capture, new gear and trait-related battle mechanics, and have added various unannounced features both ready and planned for future use. Granted, yes, the game and its alpha is only available to Kickstarter backers, but the developers, Crema, are making great strides with progress towards a much more complete game. If you want to get into the alpha and aren't a backer and want access in the future, then Crema have announced pre-orders via the Discord store come June 25th. It is worth noting that pre-orders will only be available temporarily before being removed, so if this is something that interests you, you better get on it. Alternatively, I will have a dedicated Temtem video up in the next couple weeks if you'd rather wait for me to give my opinion of the game in its entirety. Lost Ark has received countless updates and has been regularly worked on since its launch in South Korea. So seeing it receive new content comes as absolutely no surprise to pretty much anyone, but Smilegate have announced Episode 2, The Great Pioneer, will be launching next week. Introduced in the update is the new Yon continent, featuring large underground cities and various new dungeons for players to play through. Lost Ark is expected to launch in Russia and China in the near future, with a North American and European release expected somewhere down the line. When that is remains to be seen, but I am sure we're inching ever closer as the rest of the world looks to seemingly be getting it. I covered Genshin Impact a little bit last week, and since then there have been a ton of people doing news videos, reaction videos, and just generally covering the game, and while I admit that is pretty awesome, I would like to clarify a few things. While last week I mentioned that the game was an MMO due to people reaching out to me telling me that it was, it looks like it might not be the case. While the developers behind the game haven't really officially stated that the game will not be an MMO, or hell, even have multiplayer functionality, it seems much less likely, unfortunately. The game seems to follow in Breath of the Wild's footsteps, a large sandbox world that you can freely explore. Whether you can explore it with friends or you gotta track it alone remains to be seen, but I wanted to clarify that it's not looking to end up being an actual MMO. It does look like an amazing game though, don't get me wrong. After 8 long years, Phantasy Star Online 2 will finally be launching over here in the West, and no, I'm not kidding. At E3, Microsoft unveiled their plan to localize the game for a North American release in spring 2020. According to Microsoft, they will be releasing the game fully up to date with the Japanese version. That means that all content released over the last 7 years will be available upon the English launch of the game. PSO2 will feature crossplay between both the PC and the Xbox. Microsoft announced the release of PSO2 with no plans of releasing the game on PS4 or the Switch, but in a recent interview with Phil Spencer, the president of Xbox, it was revealed that the game will actually be hitting all consoles, not exclusively the Xbox One and PC. Microsoft were a little more vague with regards to their announcement though, stating that the game will be coming to the West in spring 2020. But the official website and Twitter for the game revealed their plans for North America only. Whether or not that means that there will be an IP block in place, or it just means that the servers themselves will be located within the US, remains to be seen. Regardless, we are finally getting this game after almost a decade, but is it too late to really secure a following over here? What do you guys think? Finally, Blizzard have kinda, but not really, hinted at a potential level squish sometime in the future. The level cap as it stands is an astounding level 120, and trust me, making it through all of that content, both fun and, less fun, can be a daunting task. However, over at Reddit, there is a screenshot going around with a survey that Blizzard took asking the question, are you aware that the maximum level of 120 will be reduced in the future? A second screenshot was revealed to further affirm that data presented in the first. Whether or not this is real does remain to be seen, but Blizz have discussed a level squish in the past, so this is something that we should definitely all keep an eye on. And that pretty much covers the majority of MMO related news that I've been made aware of over the last week. If you know anything that I missed, feel free to hit me up on Twitter or Instagram with a link to the article so I can talk about it. Also, quick note that my wife Mrs. Sticks did her very first video a few weeks ago, 16 things every MMORPG player can relate to. You should go check that out and see how many you can actually relate to. Anyway guys, that is it for me. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.
Oh hey, get your groove on, make it sway. Do your thing, boy, it's okay. I think we'll be more than friends.